Assalamualaikum everyone, and welcome back to this recap of the game between Amir Karim and Zaman Sohail. So the game begins with d4, d5, c4, and we entered into this typical setup that's pretty much drawish, right? I don't see much attacking chances over here, but let's see what the players played out. Mr. Amir Karim taking a think. He does not know what he should play. He's maybe recalling his theory or something of the sort. He brings out his knight, so does Zaman, and both sides are just taking things slow right now. H6 is played, the bishop goes back, and castles. Pawn to e6 and knight bd7. So just really slow development, it's sort of a queen's gambit declined position. And Zaman goes for knight captures pawn, inviting a trade of bishops, getting pieces off the board really. But Mr. Amir Karim wants to keep some pieces on the board and say, let's play some chess. Indian does not like this move at all, but slight advantage to black from here onwards. Zaman wastes no time and strikes with pawn to c5, striking in the center. And also inviting an isolated queen's pawn position, signaling that okay, we can go in for an something, right? We can go in for something now. So Mr. Amir Karim takes a really long think over here, almost 3 minutes. You can take over here, or you can take over there, here. So let's see what happens. He wastes some of his time and plays the simple bishop e2 and decides I'll just castle it out. Let's play some slow chess. So now Zaman goes in for a think. C captures d4 is an idea. Playing b6 is an idea. Right, taking over the light squares. But let's see what happens. I mean, you can play this and this, or you can, even just take over here. C captures d4, E captures d4, and continue. So Zaman finds another idea. He takes a knight, pawn takes, and he takes back another pawn. So D takes, C takes D is played, and now Mr. Amir Karim is thinking of from which pawn to take back. He spends some time evaluating the possibilities. And really, if you take back from this pawn, this is a weakness. So you're sort of forced to take this way. And now Zaman blitzes out queen check. Queen check, knight to d2 is what the engine says is the best move. Not going for a trade of queens. You could go for that as well. Well, you couldn't actually, because then bishop comes out and you lose on the spot. So probably he did not want to get pinned, bishop and the queen diagonal, so he moves his king. A bit of a weird looking move. Your rook is going to really regret the fact that the king did not castle. Knight d2 in hindsight was objectively the best move. Over here, engine gives an advantage of minus 1.2 to black. Pawn to b6 is played, taking over the light squares as well as preparing bishop to a6 in some lines. But really just to play bishop to d7, really. Mr. Amir Karim moves his knight into the e5 square, puts a strong piece there. Pushing f6 would be too weakening, so he just takes, and trades it off. So both sides have the bishop pair. Uh, let's see what happens. It's an interesting position. If Black wants to play for a draw, he could have played bishop to a6, traded off the light squared bishops, but that would have been advantageous to white. So he keeps the bishop pair active and puts the light squared bishop on that strong diagonal. Tries to get rid of it, and the king moves. Black does not want to give up the dark square. Now his rook is under attack, so he must now move his rook. So Zaman takes, I think maybe he wants to sacrifice the exchange because the light squared bishop is just such a beautiful piece in this position, really. But he says that probably this will give his opponent an idea of what he wants to do in the future. So he says, okay, I'm just going to move my rook out. And Mr. Amir Karim gives the move h4, kind of starting an attack. So now white has a clear plan. He wants to push h4, g4, h5, g5, and just steamroll on the king side. But if you look at the position, finding a plan for black is not that easy. I mean, what can you do really? I mean, you have the bishop here, but what are they really doing, right? So you can't even push because that would be weakening. So he takes a long think and centralizes one of his rooks. Just adding pressure over here, maybe something of that sort. But let's see what happens in the game. Mr. Amir Karim takes another long think. He is down on time on the clock now. 4 minutes to Zaman's 7 minutes. And after pawn up, Zaman pitches out f6. Only move, you need to get rid of the dark squared bishop. It's just too active over here. And also there's a deeper idea behind pawn to f6. He wants to push pawn to e5 even to create some weaknesses and exploit the fact that the queen and the rook are on the same file. So Mr. Amir Karim thinking, where can I place this bishop? And obviously there is only one good square for the bishop, which is back to g3 over here. So bishop has to go back over here. I see no other good move. Maybe he's thinking over here and potentially sacking. But okay, he moves his bishop back to g3. Zaman takes a long think over here as well. He is down to now 4 minutes, and compared to Mr. Amir Karim's 3 minutes. So black is down on time compared to where he was before. Obviously he still has the time advantage. He's thinking, and after a long think, evaluating whether the attack works for white, he pushes. And then Mr. Amir Karim just pushes his own pawn. Now he has it's either an isolated pawn or it's a weak pawn. So now he has to really think of something, because if he does nothing, the white's attack is going to be really brutal. So now he needs to come up with something that's going to, change the nature of the game. He needs an attack going right now, or otherwise he's going to get crushed. So he brings out his rook to c4, and I'm just going in for an attack, and queen to b1 is played. Over here, he really needs something. He needs to find the best move. So, what do you think, guys, is the best move over here? He takes a really long think over here. Time is almost equal now. Really, the pressure must be getting to the young boy. He needs to find a way to get his attack going. Pawn to e5 does not work. Pawn to e4 does not work. So what does he do? He needs to think. He's getting low on time, and an attack on lower time is going to be brutal. He needs to take a decision, and he sacrifices the bishop. Light squared bishop. He wants to get rid of that light squared bishop. It's such an important piece. After queen takes on d5, bishop to b7, the diagonal is going to be black's territory. Now, Mr. Amir Karim thinks, should I take it or should I continue with my own idea of g4? So, he plops it off with check, queen takes, and really, the light squares are now black's domain. He plops in the queen. The attack is going to be brutal. Both sides need to be very, very accurate over here. Zaman calmly brings down his bishop to b7, but still there are checks in the air, ideas that you need to cater for. What is it that you do after rook to h2, stopping checkmate? I mean, g5 is incoming, the open h file, need to be wary of all these threats. So, rook h2 is forced, and now if he can get a couple of more moves in, this might be devastating for black. Black needs to now play very, very actively. So, he goes back, queen to c6, threatening checkmate, playing actively, bringing in his pieces. You need to make active moves now, otherwise you will be regretted. Because if white gets the slightest bit of an opportunity, he is going to come all in for the kingside attack. Now, Mr. Amir Karim realizes that he has to protect checkmate. Any other move besides moving the rook d1 will lead to checkmate. So, rook to d1, taking over the open file, guarding against checkmate, and attacking another attacking piece towards the king side. Very dangerous situation, but black has the positional advantage. He just needs to be very careful not to blunder anything away. His pieces are much more well aligned, but they need some more moves to materialize the advantage. So, Zaman finds the best move, queen to f3, attacking the rook as well as attacking the pawn. Of course, Mr. Amir Karim has this move, but afterwards you can't take because the rook is hanging. So he gives a check with seconds on his clock. Zaman calmly moves his king. And now you need to be really, really precise. You cannot take this bishop because then the rook hangs. So you need to protect your rook. Where do you move your rook? Do you come in all in for an attack? Or you can't because then you get mated. He plops off the pawn. Amir Karim takes the bishop. There's nothing else he can do. Takes. A series of exchange. The king moves. Now Zaman gives a check. He has to block. now he has to take the bishop because otherwise it's getting mated. Rook captures e2 is forced. Mr. Amir Karim takes a pawn. Zaman takes a pawn as well with check. Check to the king. King goes up. Now you must be really careful not to blunder into a perpetual. So Zaman creates some space for his king. White pushes his pawn, but the advantage is devastating. But still, in a queen and pawn endgame, you just need to be careful not to blunder into a perpetual. Give away some pawns with checks. White still has the a pawn. If the b pawn falls, that pawn could become a problem. Where he moves his king away, tucks it in the corner. Zaman gives a check, king moves. Some more series of moves are played. He moves his king out, queen out. Another check. King moves. Another check. Forces a trade of queens. He's going to win this game, and he has won it. Zaman Sohail beats Mr. Amir Karim. That is all. Okay.
Zaman. थम्स अप दे दे कैमरे को.